Patriots fans, what a wild and emotional afternoon it turned out to be in Cincinnati. A game that felt like a test of every ounce of resilience this team has built over the past couple of months. From the opening kickoff, you could sense that nothing was going to come easy, and that feeling only grew stronger as the snaps piled up. Yet even in the middle of all that chaos, the quarterback who has been steering this 9-game surge found a way to deliver another performance that pushed the limits of what he has shown so far in his young career. It was not the kind of game packed with flashy highlights from start to finish, but it was the kind of outing that shows what a quarterback is made of when everything around him starts to crumble. Every throw felt like it mattered just a little more than usual, especially because the offense had to adjust on the fly after losing two key pieces on the left side of the line. Still, the quarterback kept his composure, completing 22 passes in 35 tentativas and racking up 294 yards through the air, the highest total of his career so far. And even though the stat sheet shows only one touchdown and one interception, anyone watching could see how much he was carrying on his shoulders. There were moments in which the pass rush collapsed the pocket almost instantly, moments in which he had to escape contact just to get the ball out, and yet he continually found ways to keep drives alive and move the team down the field. It was a grind, but it was a productive grind, the kind you need from a quarterback who is being asked to lead a franchise with enormous expectations. And here is the wild part. That yardage total, earned in a game that felt like a fist fight more than a showcase, pushed him to the top of the league in passing yards this season. With 2,836 yards thrown so far, he now sits ahead of some of the most established names in the league. That alone says a lot about how quickly things have changed since that season opener back in early September, when he threw for 287 yards in a tough loss to Las Vegas. Even in defeat back then, there were glimpses of something promising, something that hinted at the ceiling he might reach once he settled in. Fast forward to Week 12, and that promise has turned into production that is not only impressive for a young quarterback, but impressive by any standard in the league. What makes it even more intriguing is how close he came to hitting the 300-yard mark for the first time. With only 2 minutes left and the offense facing a 3rd and 7, he was just one solid completion away from crossing that milestone. Instead, the pressure forced a quick throw that fell short of the sticks, leaving him at 294. It is funny how football works sometimes. You could be inches away from a personal landmark, but the flow of the game does not always let you chase numbers. Still, the yardage speaks for itself. More importantly, the poise he showed speaks even louder. But while the numbers and the wins strengthen the narrative of a team climbing in the standings, the injuries suffered during the game cast a huge shadow over everything else. The moment the left tackle went down, it felt like the air got sucked out of the sideline. It happened on a short run, nothing fancy, just bodies collapsing and the rookie anchor of the blind side getting rolled up on. You could see immediately that it was serious. When a player grabs at the knee without hesitation and teammates rush in to comfort him, you know it is not the kind of thing he just walks off. And when he covered his head with a towel as the cart pulled away, the entire team seemed to feel the weight of it. That was not the only blow. Earlier in the game, the left guard, another rookie who had been one of the most consistent players on the roster this season, went down with a right ankle injury on a short yardage run. He tried to walk it off at first, but the pain was clearly too much, and he eventually had to be carted to the locker room. Afterward, he was spotted leaving the stadium in a boot and leaning on a crutch. For an offensive line that had been one of the most stable in the league through the first 11 games, losing both starters on the same side in the same afternoon felt almost surreal. The replacements stepped in and fought as hard as they could, but there is no hiding the challenge of losing two young players who had developed strong chemistry together. They were part of only the second rookie left side duo to open a season in more than 2 decades, and they had handled that responsibility with surprising maturity. Losing them throws a wrench into everything. The timing, the protection calls, the comfort the quarterback has when he drops back. You could see that impact instantly, especially on plays where the pocket collapsed quicker than normal. After the game, the quarterback's reaction said everything. He looked genuinely shaken when asked about the injuries, talking about how much these guys mean to him and how hard it is to see teammates go down like that. Hearing that kind of emotion from a young quarterback tells you how tight this locker room is and how much these rookies had already earned respect in such a short time. Other veterans echoed the same sentiment, calling it one of the toughest parts of the sport and promising to be there for the recovery process no matter how long it takes. And as if the offensive line injuries were not enough, New England had even more players exit the game. Special teams took a hit, the defensive front lost a key rotational player, and suddenly a team that had enjoyed incredible continuity through most of the season was looking at a list of injuries that seemed to grow by the hour. The timing could not be worse either, especially with a Monday night matchup coming up and the playoff race tightening. But as always, the league does not slow down for anyone. The extra day of rest before the next game will help. But the bigger question is how long some of these players will be out and what adjustments the coaching staff will have to make in the meantime. Reports have already suggested that the left tackle's knee injury is a sprained medial collateral ligament, which would explain the immediate pain and instability. If that diagnosis holds up, there's a chance he could return later in the season, maybe even in time for the playoffs. But that depends on how the knee responds in the coming days, and for now, the team can only wait for imaging results. The fact that he has played every snap this season until now only makes the setback sting more. Even with all these injuries, this one still pushed New England to 10 victories and stretched the streak to 9 straight games. That is not easy in this league, and it speaks to a team that has learned how to win in multiple ways. But it also reinforces a hard truth. In a National Football League, momentum can shift instantly, and availability is sometimes the biggest factor separating contenders from pretenders. The upcoming bye week will not fix everything, but it is arriving at a moment when this roster desperately needs time to heal and regroup before stepping into the final stretch of the season. Patriots fans, as we keep digging into everything that unfolded in Cincinnati, it becomes even clearer how strange and emotionally draining that afternoon really was. A win like that usually brings a sense of celebration, but instead, there was this uneasy silence lingering over the team as they walked off the field. It felt like everyone understood they had just watched something bigger than a regular season matchup, something that showed both the strength and the fragility of a team chasing something special. You could see it in the way players talked afterward, in the way coaches chose their words, in the way the entire locker room carried itself. There was pride, sure, but it was coated with worry. The coaching staff tried to shift the focus toward the positives, especially the composure shown by the quarterback. Even with the protection collapsing more often than he is used to, he continued standing tall in the pocket whenever he could, scanning the field and delivering throws without rushing his process. These are the kinds of moments that shape young quarterbacks, the ones that don't show up in highlight reels, but absolutely show up in their development. And when a quarterback is forced to play under constant pressure, he starts revealing parts of his game that sometimes take years to surface. In Cincinnati, he showed patience, toughness, and a whole lot of confidence in his receivers, even in plays that looked doomed from the start. One sequence in particular stood out. Midway through the third quarter, right after the left tackle was carted off, the offense faced a long third down deep in its own territory. The stadium was loud, the edge rush was coming fast, and the pocket disappeared almost immediately. Somehow, he shifted just enough to his right, kept his eyes downfield, and delivered a pass across his body to move the chains. It was not a perfect throw, but it was a gutsy one, a throw you only attempt when you trust your arm and your timing. The drive eventually stalled, but that moment reminded everyone watching that this is not a quarterback who folds when the environment gets hostile. What complicates everything is how the run game suffered the moment the left side of the line went down. Up to that point, New England had been finding enough balance to keep the defense honest. Afterward, the Bengals crowded the box and dared the Patriots to throw. The backs had almost no space to work with, and every short yardage situation felt like a coin flip. You could sense frustration building on the sideline as the offense struggled to adapt to the new reality. Losing one starter hurts. Losing two in the same spot within the same game creates a ripple effect that touches every piece of the offense. And while the quarterback kept things afloat through the air, the physical toll on the receivers was obvious. With the protection breaking down quicker than usual, they had to adjust their routes, cut sharper, and work back to the ball more frequently. You could see them grinding through exhausted legs as the game entered the final quarter. Still, this group kept stepping up, making contested catches, fighting through coverage, and giving their quarterback just enough separation to let the offense breathe. These are the kinds of plays that never get the same spotlight as touchdowns, but without them, games like this slip away. Meanwhile, on the defensive side, the story was completely different. That unit played with a kind of fire that seemed to grow with every challenge thrown their way. Every time Cincinnati threatened to build momentum, the defense came up with a stop. Whether it was a stuffed run, a well-timed blitz, or a pass breakup in tight coverage, the defense refused to let the game tilt out of control. And as the offensive injuries piled up, that group knew they had to tighten the screws. The communication was sharp, the adjustments were quick, and the intensity never dipped. One defensive sequence early in the fourth quarter might have been the turning point. Cincinnati, trailing but gaining confidence, marched across midfield and looked ready to strike. The crowd was roaring, the Patriots were showing fatigue, and everything hinted at a potential momentum swing. But then came a perfectly timed tackle for loss, followed by tight coverage on the next snap that forced the quarterback to throw the ball away. On 3rd and long, the defensive front collapsed the pocket and forced a hurried throw that sailed incomplete. It was a stand that came at the perfect time, and it reminded everyone that this defense has become the backbone of the team in many crucial moments this season. Still, even with the defense stepping up, the emotional tone of the afternoon never fully recovered from the injuries. You could feel it when the team huddled before heading to the locker room. You could see it in the slow walk some players had as they left the field. And you could absolutely hear it in the words coming from the post-game interviews. The quarterback's voice cracked slightly as he talked about how much these injured linemen meant to him. Veteran players who have seen almost everything this league can throw at them were clearly shaken. They were not just losing bodies on the field. They were losing leaders, foundational pieces who had earned the trust of the entire locker room over the past several months. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing with speculation after reports surfaced suggesting the New England Patriots have made a blockbuster move by signing elite pass rusher Maxx Crosby. Sources close to the team hint that this acquisition could mark a seismic shift in the Patriots' defensive identity, potentially transforming a unit that has long been criticized for inconsistency into one of the league's most feared fronts. Crosby, known for his relentless motor, rare combination of speed and power, and uncanny ability to pressure quarterbacks from multiple angles, would instantly become the centerpiece of a defensive scheme that head coach and defensive staff are reportedly eager to revamp. Rumors circulating among insiders suggest that the Patriots have been quietly plotting to reinvent their pass rush, a strategic area that has eluded them in recent seasons. Crosby's addition could be the missing piece, allowing New England to deploy more aggressive blitz packages and versatile fronts, potentially forcing opposing QBs into hurried decisions and turnovers. The chatter in locker rooms and front offices around the league is intense, with some executives noting that if this deal is real, the Patriots may be signaling that they're not just building for the present, but aiming to dominate defensively for years to come. Fans on social media are already speculating about how Crosby's presence could open opportunities for other defenders, hinting at a domino effect that might elevate younger players and give the Patriots the kind of disruptive edge that once defined their dynasty years. Analysts are debating whether this move indicates a full-scale defensive makeover or a strategic gamble to complement an offense still in development. Either way, the buzz is unmistakable. New England appears poised to redefine its defensive philosophy. While nothing is officially confirmed, the mere whispers of Crosby in New England jerseys have sent shockwaves through the NFL rumor mill. Could this be the start of a new Patriots era where fearsome defense rules the field again? Only time will tell, but for now, the league is on edge, and the speculation is as relentless as Crosby's pass rush. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.